And from that building, it was about a mile into town. You know, like the circle, the center of town. So we're like about a mile and a quarter west of Gettysburg. Now, I want you all to understand, in the days before the battle, the vast majority of Lee's army came up out of Virginia via the Shenandoah Valley. So if you do know this area, Winchester, Virginia, Hagerstown, Maryland, that's where they cross the Potomac into Maryland. They come up the Cumberland Valley into Pennsylvania, and they end up over here around Chambersburg. That's 25 miles west of us. Notice, Lee's army enters Pennsylvania first. So by default, Lee's army gets further north than the Northern Army. It gets a little confusing here, folks. So what happened is, well, let's just continue this for a moment. Elements of Lee's army do march all the way north to Carlisle. That's 25 miles north of us. So notice, right before the battle, the rebels are mostly west and north of town. The Yankees racing up out of Maryland, well, I should say Virginia, into Maryland, are approaching from the south. Now, on your way to Gettysburg here this morning, everyone, you passed through a little burg called Frederick, Maryland. Well, there's where Meade was given command of the Union Army 3 days before the battle. And his orders, in English you understand, was to intercept Lee's army. The one thing the North did not want was Lee rampaging all over Pennsylvania. So his mission is to close with his enemy and bring them to bay wherever. So that's what really put the two armies now on a collision course. And more or less, right smack square between them, like we said, was the town of Gettysburg. It was right in these fields on July 1. Like we said, the elements collide, start shooting. Again, the rebels out here, the Yankees here. Now, when those first shots were fired, like we said, most of the soldiers are nowhere near here. But down the road about 7 miles was John F. Reynolds with 10,000 Yankees. Now, it's important to remember, Reynolds was second in command of the whole Union Army. So here's a guy pretty close at hand with some serious clout. So he soon gets word of what's happening here. He puts his 10,000 men in, they're all marching, they're not cavalrymen. He gets his men in motion for Gettysburg, and then he hops on a horse and rides ahead. So he's going to get here at least an hour ahead of his men. Because in that hour, he's going to make some real fateful decisions. First of all, he conferred with generals already on the field, looked at the lay of the land, studied the overall situation. That's when he realized this is a beautiful place to fight a battle. Now, folks, with the woods right here, it doesn't help as much, but if you look out there, see how expansive these fields are. It's that way off to the north as well. So you have these commanding fields of fire. Notice how we have little ridges that follow one another. So if we're driven from one ridge, there's another one to rally on, and so on and so forth. It's a position in depth. We have the crossroads of the town itself. That's a bonus. And then, of course, this is very, very simple, but it took someone like General Reynolds to figure it out. Right where you're now standing, you're about 8 miles north of the Mason-Dixon line. We ain't in Dixie anymore, folks. By God, this is the Union. And Reynolds knew the Northern Army would fight better defending their homeland. Their homeland. So all of this is what adds up to a fateful decision. We're going to fight it out right here and now. There ain't no going back. Now, we do have to clear it with one more man.